it's been a process of 4 years of Jack's trying to figure out how he's going to extricate himself from the club and from the life. And he's now at the point when he assumed the role of president at the end of last season. I think it was a very concrete decision that whole fantasy was now put to bed, and that he resigned himself to the fact that he's here and he's staying and this is what he's going to do for the rest of his life. And I think a clarity and a fierceness grows in him after making that decision. And so to begin with, he's an excellent president. I mean, he's been watching this and fantasizing about being the president or leaving, one of the two, for years and years. And so now that he's here, he has all of the skill set to deal with it. But I think what he hadn't anticipated was just the level of compromise that's required to be a man in charge. There's information that Jax has that he cannot share with the club, and so now he finds himself right away in a position where he's having to lie and manipulate his brothers, which is shit that he vilified Clay for doing for years, and is now finding himself in that same position. I think one of the really most interesting psychological things that are going on as a byproduct of that within Jax is, although he absolutely hates Clay and wants to murder him, he's actually starting to empathize a little bit with how difficult it is to sit at the head of the table, and lead righteously, because that's all he wants to do, is just be a good leader and look after his guys, and whenever possible do the right thing. And I think what he's realizing is more often than not, it's impossible to do the right thing. So then you got to go on to plan B. But that's, I think, one of the most exciting and interesting and unexpected side effects, is this feeling of empathy that starts to grow in him, which is obviously, to empathize and to want to murder the same person is a complex thing to play. Hopefully I haven't been fucking it up too much.
Can't wait to see.
It's a heartbreaking dynamic, both for me to play as the actor and for the characters on screen. Opie is the one person that Jax truly just loves and trusts in the club, and when my little brother died, I think that Opie and Jax became truly brothers. And Ryan is such a wonderful actor and such a soulful guy, that when we're doing these scenes where he's disappointed in me and kind of a little disdainful of the way I'm operating, it really is difficult to play those scenes, to be on the receiving end of that. I mean, I feel man, I wish I could be doing a better job, and it's really, I think it's the area that creates the most sadness for Jax in this whole transition, is the fact that he's lost the love and respect of his best friend. Very much. I mean, I think that John Teller, Jax's father, has definitely been knocked off the pedestal. I think Jax really now, for the first time ever in his life, has a clear idea of who his dad was and what he was all about, and understands it and respects it, but also thinks that his father was a little naive in that kind of fairy tale righteous collection of dudes who really just wanted to be free of the big brother element of society, was just a dream. That's not what this is, and nor is it ever going to be. So I think he's much more realistic in a lot of ways than John Teller was. But it definitely, he's going to go through a process of realizing that as naive as he thought John was, he is still very naive in thinking that he can turn this club into, take it too far from where it is, And that's what I was talking about earlier, that there's this psychological byproduct of actually realizing that all of the mistakes that Clay made weren't all necessarily maliciously intended. That it's very, very difficult to be the boss and to make these decisions. And